What is up, guys? Clay Enjoyer here, and it's time to enjoy. And in this video, I'm actually going to do something that's Valentine's Day related, which is going to be the first holiday themed sculpture I've ever made, and I don't know if I actually will continue this trend or not, but we'll see. I can start by covering a heart-shaped thing in a bunch of clay to cover up the aluminum foil, because I don't know if you guys know, but you can't sculpt aluminum foil. You sculpt clay, obviously. If it wasn't obvious enough from the thumbnail, I'm going to be making some sort of heart alien monster, starting with a giant creepy mouth. I was thinking doing the other way, but I thought since the heart is a little bit more like a rectangle, that it would make a little bit more sense and look a little less crammed together. And then I can also give the inner mouth some texture, which is going to be invisible because of all the teeth and the eventual tongue in its place. But I thought the heart was looking a little bit small, so I can build up some clay on the top two bumps, I guess, to make the video a little bit longer and make the heart look a little bit better, at least until I smooth it all out. It kind of looks weird right now, with the angles smoothed out a little bit, so it looks more normal, at least as normal as a heart monster can get, or at least more natural. Then I can add some wrinkles around the mouth to fill in some of the empty spots to make the heart look a little bit more creepy and give me some extra detail to add while still not drawing too far away from the original design. Then I can also add some gums because it looks like the teeth are kind of falling out. And this is a heart monster, not the average British person. So you see where I'm coming from, and it makes sense. Then I can blend said gums back into the rest of the face so they look more normal. Again, as normal as they can. Now, up to this point, this video isn't long enough, so what I can do is wrap this aluminum foil croissant thing in a bunch of clay and then add it on to a second croissant of clay that I can smooth in together to make one giant croissant, because I need this video to be a bit longer and I need something for the heart monster to quote-unquote live inside. With all these balls of clay, it's supposed to look like rocks, but I didn't want the rocks to look too realistic for some reason. I guess because I wanted it to be more stylized instead of realistic. But it'll still be realistic enough when I do some extra cool painting. Even though the cave is looking pretty good so far, I need to smooth it out a little bit because the back of it is looking a little bit horrendous. With that cleaned up though, I can add some stalactites to the top of the cave, because if I remember correctly, stalactites are the ones that hold tight to the ceiling. Oh wait, sorry, my bad. This is not supposed to be an informational video. With the stalactites in place and of varying sizes, it makes the cave look a little bit more interesting. But now with the cave done, I can add the heart demon inside the cave, and it actually only just barely fit, but minus the part that I had to cut out at the bottom. But because this heart looks a little funky, I need to make it look like it fits in with the cave, starting with adding some really big, creepy vein tube things. I wasn't entirely sure what this was supposed to be when I actually started making it. I was just kind of thinking, what's the grossest and creepiest way I can make this, well, creepier? And even though I added rocks right here, they of course didn't stick to the foam base that I cut off camera because I wanted to measure the sides. But I also thought the rocks were just a little too big. Now the final part of the sculpture is making a little person, which is going to be a very tedious process. And just a fair warning, it is only going to be close to proportional. Looking back at this person, they are definitely a little bit wide, But then again, you didn't come here for proportionality. You came here for clay, I guess. Honestly, if you're here, you might have some mental issues. Like, if you think this is cool, you should get some therapy, along with myself. Like, I'm long overdue. With that out of the way, I can add some details to make this person look just about completed with all the details necessary that are only barely visible. But there is actually one final thing that I forgot. To make the tongue that's grabbing onto the person's leg and pulling them towards the heart demon's mouth. Because I figured if someone was just laying in the mud, that would look a little bit funky. Oh wait, yeah. And I also added some veiny tendril kind of things on the ground, moving towards the person as well, but I just thought it would look extra creepy and make it fit better. With a little heart for some reason, because maybe this guy got lost in a cave somehow. I'm not sure what my logic of thinking was, but what I do know is that I started painting this sculpture gray, obviously. And because I was worried that this video would be a little bit too short, I actually painted the rocks in the same color several times around different parts of the model to make it more interesting. But as well as making it more interesting, some lighter gray over top makes it look like all the rocks and stalactites have highlights, which make it look better because the darker colors stay in the shadows, which gives it some natural lighting / detail, and it makes it look cooler, which is all that really matters. With the cave painted, I can now start to carefully work on painting the heart, which starts with this slightly darker red and not this fairy tale bright red, because I think it's more dramatic, but I still have to give it an extra layer of paint because it's kind of thin and the coverage is bad. Same thing for these tendril vein things. I have no idea what I was actually trying to go here, but a little bit of this magenta-esque variation, as well as painting the mouth in more variations, but a little bit closer to pink instead of like a maroon or magenta. But to give the heart a little bit of extra detail, I can dry brush / stipple on some lighter reds to act as weathering, before doing the same thing on the tendril veins as well, because I want it to all look relatively uniform but disgusting. As well as on the big veins too, but just on one instead of both because it gets the idea across. Then I can clean up the teeth, and then I can dry brush them and dirty them up with a nice brown wash before moving on to painting the tongue the same color as the inner mouth, or at least a close enough color from looking at it afar, because if you're anything but normal, you'll pay attention to this detail. As well as painting the pants and the shirt green, because I think it's a nice contrast. With the face, hair, and hands painted, I can now start dry brushing everything to give it a little bit more detail and make it look a little bit more worn. Because even if this person's outfit was 100% new, it doesn't start wearing down a day after you wear it. It starts breaking down immediately, because most clothes are actually made of very poor quality material. Even stores that are faking it. Gucci. As I was saying, I can finish off the dry brushing and mix up a mysterious chocolate paste again. This chocolate paste seems to show up in almost every single one of my videos. Who could have thought? Because it's a fantastic basing material, and it works well because it's kind of mixed with glue, which means I can stick the two parts of the base right in it, and it won't even be a problem. With the base somewhat dry, I can scoop away some of the paste to make it look like the person is being dragged through the dirt, almost like they've been pulled there for a while. With the little heart in there, for some reason, I can dry brush the dirt in an orangish brown, but leave it alone towards the back because for some reason the glue dried in the front but not in the back. Then I can carefully paint the base black, and once that's done, it's on to the reveal. Help! Help me! If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more sculptures like this that will drag you through the dirt just like the the good YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching. Bye.